They came after us, crossed the borderline, took all our offers to send down their mines, while the feathers crossed the borderline. So cried the trekker, this madness must stop. Toss a coin to your trekker, oh planet of plenty, oh planet of plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your trekker, oh planet of plenty. The vile Kurogans fled and hid what they had stole. The orphan was shackled and kept in the cold. But he did not relent. The third king was hell-bent. He slayed the Kurogans, then to Bird's house he went. And with a mighty blow, he struck that button red. The mighty bird folded into by his bed. That's my epic tale, our champion prevailed. So let's drink a toast with some Romulan ale. Toss a coin to your trekker, oh planet of plenty, oh planet of plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your trekker, oh planet of plenty, oh planet of plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your trekker, oh planet of plenty, oh planet of plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your trekker, the great turtle Stanley.
Making your way with the nerds today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from hating JJ sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to just get laid? Sometimes you wanna go where all the Trekkies know your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be in a galaxy where Star Trek isn't lame. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
Hey guys, so for some reason Auntie is diligently sleeping, but she's not diligently sleeping in her bed. She's just diligently sleeping on the floor over here. So if she wanders back to her bed, I'll turn the Auntie cam on. And I just realized the green screen isn't there, so everything's a mess. Let me move the green screen because I'm an idiot. That's better. A little bit. Alright. So, and now somebody's messaging me, of course, because can't have anything go smoothly around here. We don't believe in that kind of thing. That was Thomas. Oh, Thomas sent me a message saying, your background's messed up. Yeah. I realized that just when I started the live stream. I look at it and I'm like, wow, that doesn't look right. So, yeah, sorry about that. And let me put that there. All right. So now, wow, what a day. All right, so 47 Yorktown's first. Good to see you. Indy Tiger says first, but Will's a quick second. Cinnabon says hello. How you doing, my favorite bunny master? Josh Street says hi. Resolute says hi. Vile Mike says hey. Death Dealer says hey. John Meyer says howdy. Aberjam says, greetings, oh great Turtistani. May the dusty roads always lead you home. Thank you, my friend. What did Kuroga steal? Asked Thomas. Well, no, Kuroga didn't steal it. I'll get into why I'm a little down right now in just a couple of minutes. The Turtistani orphan who was taken was named Mr. Miles. No, Mr. Miles, I think, is still free. Greetings from the left coast. As a former resident of Oregon, do you have any suggestions for our honeymoon in the Newport area? Well, it depends on what if you're going to be in the Newport area, I would head south a little bit. On the 101, there is now granted, I haven't been there in like 26 years because the last time I was there when it was me and Mrs. Antriker got married. But there's a little town just on the other side of the California border called Fort Dick. Yeah, I know, laugh about the name. It's a beautiful coastal town, beautiful beaches, and the redwood forest. It is absolutely gorgeous if you like nature. So if you want to really take advantage of the natural beauty of the West Coast, that is the spot, right on the Oregon-California border, Fort Dick, California. There's a little bit bigger town on the Oregon side of the border if you prefer, but if the Fort Dick is a smaller town, a little more quaint. Me and Mrs. Anti-Checker stayed at a small, what was the Casa Rubio. Is the name of the place, and they have a beautiful honeymoon suite. Again, this was 26 years ago, but they had a beautiful honeymoon suite that literally the door opened up to the beach. It was gorgeous. So that's my recommendation, but I don't know if any of that's still there because it has been a while. Mike Richards is here from Columbus. So on real loss, says Thomas. Not sure what you mean. Toss a coin. Somebody's been watching The Witcher. Well, actually, yeah, I did watch The Witcher, but that was from good old Aberjam made that song. Turdistani Dignity. That's the loss. I get it. R.I.P. Kobe Bryant, indeed. Very sad. I got to kind of side with Bird on this a little bit. It's not like I knew him personally. I don't feel bad for him personally. It's sad. Really, the tragedy of it was that, he's so young and his daughter was only like 13 and they're just gone. They had everything and now they have nothing. And we should take that as a life lesson. No matter what you have or don't have, we're all going the same place. Average says, man, I love the new intro. Well, thank you. I actually like the way it came out too. And I'm making a couple of variants for future stuff that's top secret that I'll probably be revealing in about 2 or 3 days. When your brain is fully melted, can Dr. Alex move in with Mrs. Anti-Checker? T-Berg says, barrels at the bars. Hey, folks. And let's see. Kronos says first, Mr. Bojangles, I think that's short for Bojangles, says epic opening. Terry says hello. It's all fake, says T-Berg. Yes, the secret was revealed. I'm sorry. I didn't set the green screen in the right spot beforehand. Too much hate. Let's toss that aside and have Naked Aunt May cite sexy Klingon in mud. I'm with you on that, man. Yes. I normally wouldn't go for that, but yes, today I would be fine with that. Sci-Fi Sis says hello. Isaiah says hi. Thomas says my sinuses are acting up and your background didn't help. I'm sorry. Alice says hi. Mark says good to see you. Chrono says be careful of the sneaky live chat. I actually did switch it to live. Thank you, my friend. Stuart says hope you are well and having fun night. People are on drugs and it is 2 in London right now. Well, that sucks. And Chrono says, oops, sorry, nerds in the turd. That's all right, my friend. Mr. Mouse forever, first time forever, awesome. Baby Yoda is what is for dinner. The other green meat. Delicious I am. Yeah. Why can't I stop hearing that Cheers theme? Because it's so freaking awesome. And that song was, the lyrics were done by Aberjam and Piano Dean and performed by Piano Dean. During the intro, Auntie, did I see 2 pony characters? You did! Very good! Death Dealer, and I figured you would appreciate that one. Yes, there were 2 pony characters in the foreground in that first picture. So yes, I'll even show it again for a second. And you see as the color fades in, you see it's a purple one and a red one. I don't know them by name, so sorry. I know you probably know who they are. I don't. So we're all going to the same place called Karoga. Wow, that's dark. Thank you, boss man. We may drive to the forest moon of Endor, but if not, we will hit that epic aquarium and whale watching there in Newport, and I will bring the camera, maybe drone. That would be cool. Yeah, me and Mrs. Anti-Checker, when we drove up north on 101, Newport is absolutely beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but it's just a little too touristy, and so that's why we liked Fort Dick. It was so quiet. just a small little town. You blink, you miss it. You barely read my first chat. First, really? Sorry, Kronos. I'm tired. How's the corona today? How was work? How's the corona? Well, I don't know about the... Oh, you mean like the bug? That's mostly better, but Mrs. Anti-Checker's not feeling well. But that's different. She's got like a irritation in her eyes driving her crazy. But thank you for asking. Work sucks. It's work. And you know what? I will tell you, there's some things from work today that I wish I could tell you guys about, but I can't. But if I ever leave that job, I will. It's Rainbow Dash, like the best pony for my favorite, or that's like the best pony or my favorite at the least. Well, very good. Greetings, turds, birds, and friends. Hey, Wes. Darren says, what's up? No notification. Well, it seems like notifications are going out. We got 68 people here. Did you hear about the 7.7 off the coast of Cuba? I did not. I live only 15 kilometers away from a town called Effing. Fort Dick doesn't sound so bad. How's work? Okay, honestly, well, I can't complain per se because I'm not really working yet. I was basically going through emails, watched a couple of webinars on stuff that I missed. There's some things things that have changed in the company that I'm very concerned about, I'll just say, but I can't reveal any of it because I'm not a spokesman for our company, and so I'm not going to talk about our corporate politics or anything. That would be inappropriate here. Sorry to hear about Miss Anti-Trigger. Hope she gets better quickly. I do too. I'm actually going to be taking her to the doctor first thing tomorrow morning. Isn't it spelled Fort Dix? No, not your. Let me take a look. I think that you're thinking of a different place. But let me double check. Yes, it is Fort Dick, D-I-C-K, in California. And so in Del Norte County, which is the northernmost county of California, right on the Oregon border. And so let's see. Tiki, I hate J.J. Abrams. I don't want to hear about your hate for J.J. Abrams. Start of the year, World War III, and we know it was as the plague, and we know it was, and we know it's World War Z as the plague comes in. Oh man. Corona says, I didn't get a notification, wasn't looking for it, to be fair. Well, yeah, if you're not looking for it, you'll never see it. I spent the day in back support with 10 electrodes in my back, made it 9 hours and feel good tonight. Well, if the electrodes helped you and you feel better, then awesome. Doesn't sound like a pleasant experience, but I'm glad that you are feeling better now. Tsunami man, I can't talk. Tsunami warnings as well for Cuba and Jamaica. Wow. And Thomas puts a $1.99, says, where is the tank? Number 22. Well, Thomas, aren't you the tank engine? Because you're Thomas? Get it? Thomas the tank engine? Because that's a real thing, you know. Ah, yes. Some people hate that one. Some people love that one. Fort Dick has red wood. Yes, that is true. Oh, jeez. Your words are wise, says Kronos. Well, thank you, I think. Hit the like button and wash your hands, people. Indeed. It would be fun to crowd name Anti-Trigger's work, tell all, but we have nowhere to start with the puns unless turd in the bottom of the corporate shoe, an Anti-Trigger story. Fort Dick is probably where they said military rejects that are anal retentive. But actually, Fort Dick is, if I remember, it's not an actual fort anymore. It used to be back in the old days. There's like an abandoned old fort there. Like the chat more than most of Anti-Drinkers takes. Wow. Mean. Son of a bitch, Mr. Miles isn't here to see his favorite super chat. Yeah, I know, I was just thinking that. Too much hate, brain melting indeed. Yes, Daniel. Wesley says, Ryan Johnson's head scares me. That is true. Yeah, that shot of my Ryan Johnson's head, yes. Daniel's laughing at Fort Dick. Crota says, Thomas is ignoring me. Of course he is. So, let me tell you about why I'm feeling the too much hate right now thing. And honestly, I should have seen it coming, but I just didn't, and I don't like it. So I watched just before this live stream. I finished work about 45 minutes before I started this live stream. Grabbed a drink, sat down, and I usually, like, just to unwind before I get into the live stream, I'll watch a couple of YouTube videos, and I saw the Critical Drinker did his review of Picard. And it's like, what is going on with the fandom? What? I understand that Picard is not a perfect show, all right? I get it. But, the funny thing is, it's like, I know it's not because, well, maybe there are marching orders going out and I'm just not getting the memo. But it's like everybody is saying the exact same crap and half of it isn't even true. Like, I've heard at least 4 people talk about how Romulans spit acid. They don't watch the clip. The guy clearly bites down on something before he spits. So it's not like the Romulans have acid blood now, which is, it's like from aliens. No, it's just like a suicide pill thing. And it wasn't even the acid that got the chick. It was the exploding gun, right? So, I mean, yes, the acid got on her and it hurt her, but the exploding gun was what really got her. But there's stuff that's factually incorrect. There's stuff that's based on political stuff that is not clear in the show, but it's only clear if you know the behind-the-scenes stuff, which, granted, some of that got to me, too. That's why a lot of people got on me about comparing the Romulans to slaves, right? Because I understand that everybody is trying to make the Romulans an allegory for Mexicans, and I understand, growing up in wine country in California, I understand exactly what that entails. So I get that. And yes, that got under my skin, which is unfortunate because had I not known that in advance, I probably wouldn't have had a problem with the Romulans on Picard's frickin' vineyard, right? But what they're doing is, and I'm sorry, I love Critical Drinker. I think he's hilarious, but at the same time, he is basing his review off of stuff that is not in that episode. He is basing his review on political talk from behind the scenes with Patrick Stewart and Alex Kurtzman, and he even bases part of the review on freaking Star Trek Discovery. All right, so look, I understand Star Trek Discovery sucks. Not everybody thinks so, but I sure do. I didn't like Discovery, along with 99.9% of the fandom menace. That being said, this is not Star Trek Discovery. And I'm sorry, 098 team, this is not Star Trek Discovery. When he started going off about the Kling orcs, that doesn't belong in a Picard review. That has nothing to do with them. So it's just all these people piling on. For example, and I hate to pick on a friend, but I'm going to for just a second. Because I do consider Mecha Random a friend, and I like Mecha Random. And she put out a video about how Angry Joe's video was removed. And she went on a tirade about how CBS is intentionally going in there and manually putting these copyright claims. but even in the screenshot that she shows of his video taken down, it said content ID match. That, by definition, is an automated process. So people in the Fandom Menace, and by the way, if you're, of course, you can see Auntie is diligently sleeping once again. Good job, Auntie. Keep up the guard against bad dreams. So, again, I like Mecca. I'm not trying to pick on Mecca, but she did this. I didn't. And so she starts going off about how his review was intentionally taken down because it was a negative review, although people that have seen the review said it really wasn't that negative. I don't know. I haven't seen it. But she was saying, well, it's a negative review, and that CBS is trying to take down negative reviews and all this. And I'm sorry, Content ID is an automated system. I've been hit with Content ID dozens of times by YouTube. What triggers Content ID? And she was like, well, I don't understand because he has clips, but Red Letter Media has clips in theirs. Yeah. Do you know how Content ID works? If you put a clip of something, and you guys have seen my videos, I put clips in my videos all the time. I've had videos with 20, 30, 40 clips in it sometimes. But what I've learned, and I learned this from my good friend Stuart Foley over at Trek Yards, he taught me this little trick. Content ID will not hit you if your clips are less than 15 seconds long. And so as long as you make sure that your clip is less than 15 seconds long, Content ID will not match. And so I'm very careful about that now. I occasionally, like sometimes I'll put a clip in and it'll be 15 seconds and 1 frame and it'll get it. And I'll be like, darn. But other times I'll accidentally go to 16, even 17 seconds and it won't hit it. It just depends on the clip and how well it matches. But it is an automated system. So all that means is that Angry Joe in his review probably had a clip that was like 40, 50 seconds long. And so Content ID grabbed it and said, sorry, buddy. And, that's the way the system works. So, yeah. I'm just, I don't understand. And like I said, the funny thing is, it's not like I'm getting what I feel like are everybody that's reviewing this thing and giving it a negative review is saying the exact same bullet points. They might as well. I mean, it's like somebody please say something original about it. Anyway. And my problem is that, of course, if you don't like Picard, that's perfectly fine. I understand that. But, and by the way, the worst part of some of these reviews is, oh my God, it's flying in the face of Gene Roddenberry's vision. So has 99% of Star Trek. The only Star Trek that didn't fly in the face of Gene Roddenberry's vision was The Cage, the motion picture, and the first season and a half of The Next Generation. That is it. Everything else flew in the face of Gene Roddenberry's vision. And by the way, you know what Gene Roddenberry didn't like? He didn't like the Borg. He didn't like Star Trek II. He hated Star Trek VI. All right, he hated the good Trek. So don't give me some crap about being a purist about Gene Roddenberry's vision, because none of you guys that are screaming about Gene Roddenberry's vision want to see the first season of TNG again. None of you want to see every movie be like Star Trek the Motion Picture. None of you want Star Trek to return to what it was in The Cage. So, I'm sorry, but that is the most disingenuous argument, or if it's not disingenuous, it's just plain ignorant. Charles, thank you so much. What's $4.99 in the chat says, let him hate. New Trek in about 36 hours. I can't wait. I'm snoozing most of the Phantom Menace for 30 days, maybe for the full run of Picard. It's getting, and that's the thing that's bothering me, is because a lot of people in the Phantom Menace I consider friends, and some of them I consider good friends. But and thank you again, Charles. I do truly appreciate it. I do truly. It truly saddens me that it's getting more and more difficult every day for me to watch a video from the Phantom Menace. It's getting darn near impossible for me to sit through anything that says Picard on it. Because, quite frankly, except for a few of the people that subscribe to this channel that have channels with less than 100 frickin' subscribers and Trek yards, and I haven't seen Lore Reloaded's take on it yet, but he's not really a part of the Phantom Menace. But, you know, everybody's just sitting there wailing hate for no reason. There's no nuance to what they're saying. They don't even stop to think about the fact that in Star Trek, the Star Fleet, from the time of Encounter at Farpoint to the time of Nemesis, was steadily becoming more hawkish. At the beginning of the Next Generation, Starfleet was very little more than a social club in space. We're explorers. We're hugging and kissing and singing Kumbaya and bringing our kids with us. Hey, let's bring the aunt and uncle with us too as we explore the galaxy and have fun. By the end of Nemesis, Starfleet is a straight-up military organization. All right, so don't tell me that it's like this suddenly they did a 180 on Starfleet. No, it makes perfect sense. So, I mean, I had no problem with that part of it. Now, yes, I do know some of the political stuff behind the scenes, and I don't like it. But I'm sorry, but to try and suggest that this stuff is at the, you know, some people are trying to suggest that this is as bad as freaking Discovery. No. You're not paying attention if that's what you really, really think. And Jarcia, I hope I didn't butcher that too bad. Thank you so much. Puts $5 Canadian in. Says, real talk, Gene was like a deadbeat dad who knocked up the studio to make Trek, but DC Fontana, Michael Piller, Ira Bear, etc. did the actual parenting. Well, don't leave out Gene Kuhn. Gene Kuhn and DC Fontana did more to Trek, the Trek inception than Gene ever dreamed of. So, yeah, that's just fact. All right, so let me see. I'm trying to find where I was. Can you see? Let's see. Man, I'm so sorry. The chat went crazy on me. And let's see. Thomas is ignoring. Do something about it. Resolute says there's no such thing as too much hate. I disagree. I gotta disagree. It's just getting out of hand. Should be drinking. Any drinker should be drinking while streaming. Oh man, sometimes I feel like it. Yeah. I saw Critical's review as well. I'm sub to him. Yeah, and the thing is, I love Critical Drinker for the most part, but this was just it was sloppy. And I know he tries to sound sloppy, but he's not. He's a very smart writer, and this was not some of his better writing. You may not like work, but at least helps you pay the bills and keep the lights on. That's true, sci-fi. That is very true. Hate leads to the dark side. Anakin hated sand, and look what happened to him. Yes, don't hate sand. That's the lesson we should learn. Valor says, I woke up this morning and nearly tripped over a medium-sized black dog on my way to the bathroom. Thing is, we don't have a dog, so either Home Haunted or Bird of Prey 5 sent an assassin dog after me. Valor, if you identify as a Turtistani, it was probably Bird of Prey 5. If you identify as a Karogan, then it was probably Bird of Prey 5. I'll be back in about 2 days when Andy Trekker ends his rant. It wasn't that bad. Come on now. Mage says, I can't figure out why he spat on her in the first place. It seemed like they wanted her alive. Yeah, I was a little confused by that myself, Mage. And I'm hoping there's an explanation for it. But here's the thing. And this is another problem I have with a lot of these reviews, Critical Drinkers included, is they make it sound like if something is not explained in episode 1 of a serialized show, then it's like this massive gaping plot hole. Look, every serialized show that's well written, episode 1 hints at things that you have no idea what's going on until later. The Mandalorian all you knew in episode 1 was that he was a bounty hunter on a case. And then at the very end, you see this Baby Yoda thing, and you're like, whoa, is he going to kill that thing? And even at the end of episode 2, you're not sure if he's going to kill Baby Yoda. It isn't until episode 4 that you really have a good idea where his morals sit. So you don't have to spoon feed everything in the first episode. But the stupid thing is that while these same people are complaining that they're not explaining every little detail, they're also complaining that there's too many story elements. Well, which way do you want it? Sorry. I can't figure out why. Oh, I just read that. Just keep telling yourself it's good. Kronos asks, can you see this? Indeed, I can, Kronos. Isaiah says, wow, I've never seen you like this worked up before. Oh, I get this way every now and then, Isaiah. I'm so fed up with, I'm obviously, I don't hate these people at all, but I'm angry at the fact that everybody is just spewing hate for hate's sake. Love your ponytail and your background. Thank you, 0918. Well, at least there's something you like about me, 18, even if we disagree on everything else. Piano Dean is in the house. Yes, the great performer of our wonderful theme song. Trying to convince my friend Deanna to give Picard a watch. Please speak some words of encouragement for her. Deanna, don't listen to the people that are lying to you about how it sucks. All right? It is not a bad show. If you liked Star Trek The Next Generation and you liked the character of Picard specifically, you should watch this. This is not about Star Trek The Next Generation. This is about the character of Picard. And if you know how Picard genuinely feels about the military, about being Hawk versus Dove, about being a pacifist, about putting diplomatic solutions ahead of militaristic ones, then you should appreciate where he's coming from in it. And if you follow the history of Starfleet at all, you should appreciate what's happening around him. Valor says, I predicted all this from the Phantom Menace months ago. It's time we split from the Phantom Menace. It's run its course and only hurting the fans. I'm tending to agree with you. Black Delegation says Phantom Menace bias is showing. It kind of is. Kronos says you rock. Thank you, my friend. Cinnamon says, wait, I don't have my pitchfork ready. How can you have a pitchfork around bunnies? That could get dangerous. Does Picard have a Rotten Tomatoes yet? Wait, if it's popular, I'm sure it's rigged because Quantum. Yes, keep in mind, remember, anytime Rotten Tomatoes does not fit the narrative of whatever group's talking about it, it's because it's rigged. But anytime it fits the narrative, Rotten Tomatoes is the most reliable source of information ever. But I don't know. I haven't checked Rotten Tomatoes to see if there's anything on Picard yet. Last time I checked, there was not. Star Trek Picard, Rotten Tomatoes. 95% from critics, 81% from the audience. I don't have a problem with those scores. I'm surprised the critics score is so high. But the 80% from the audience, that sounds about right. I'm sure they're going to say the audience score is completely rigged and it should only be about 8% because, everybody hates it. Anti-Trek is the only one that thought it was okay. Looks like cinnamon roll. Stuart says, agreed. Many of the videos from the Phantom on the bat, and I've seen a good video, but I've seen good video regarding the show as well. I haven't stumbled across too much yet, but I'm glad you stumbled across some good videos about it because I've been feeling kind of bad about that. Life with Matthew says, good evening, Anti-Trek and all. What's the hate about? Well, if you haven't heard already, because you left that comment a few minutes ago, you should probably already know it's about the Picard's crap. Epic Beard says, I don't watch YouTube. I just watch Anti-Trekker rants, Bird rants, and Friends. Well, I appreciate that, Epic Beard. And I know, I understand. I have a lot of people that subscribe to this channel that are incredibly loyal, and I truly appreciate that. Even when we disagree harshly, you guys keep coming back, and I can't thank you enough for that. It truly, truly touches me. Darren says, I wonder why people don't get that Roddenberry Trek was actually Suck Trek. Because people worship at the altar of Roddenberry. It's just, people don't understand that, they just hear Gene Roddenberry created Star Trek. Therefore, they assume that everything about Star Trek had Gene Roddenberry's blessing, at least up until he died. But the simple truth is, most of Trek, Gene Roddenberry could not stand. He felt that the original series was a perversion of his vision. Because you know what they did to change? Here's the thing. Here are the changes they made to the original series against the wishes of Gene Roddenberry. The brighter colors, right? So the gold, blue, red uniforms. Roddenberry wanted everybody basically wearing gold and beige, right? A diverse cast. I don't give a crap what Gene Roddenberry says, patting himself on the back about diversity. Look at his cast, and then look at the Gene Coon cast. All right, the Gene Coon cast included actual diversity. The Gene Roddenberry cast included 50 white guys and an Asian extra. I'm sorry. It's this false narrative, and Gene Roddenberry's been more than happy to encourage it. Unfortunately, Gene Roddenberry is to Star Trek what Stan Lee is to comic books. Stan Lee was a great writer of comic books in his day, but guess what? He didn't create those characters that he takes credit for creating. He may have named them. He created some of the stories. He created a lot of the stories and which invented the characters. But guess what? He didn't draw a single one of them. I've been rewatching first season TNG. So funny going back to it. It is. Yeah. JD says, preach! Cinnabon says, I have less than 100. I know you do. But but here's what you got to do, Cinnabon. Instead of showing live streams of your bunnies for 6 hours at a time, start organizing your thoughts together and putting out commentaries, man. You can do it. And stop hiding your face, man. You got an epic look to you. Commander Sutter says, I have unsubscribed from many of the people you mentioned a few minutes ago. Trek Yards. I don't care for the rumors and negativity. They are looking for things to hate. Hashtag me poo. Are you saying accept Trek Yards? Because I hope you didn't mean Trek Yards, because they're definitely not into the negativity stuff. But yeah. Tiki says, no reason. Yes, no reason. While I have my own issues with both new series, I try to enjoy them for what they are. And you should. But the thing is and if you don't like it, that's perfectly fine. But don't hate on it because of something you heard someone say in some... it's like people that hated Captain Marvel because Brie Larson runs her mouth. Right? That's not a reason to hate Captain Marvel. Hate Captain Marvel what you see on screen, not because of the attitude of an actor. Because you know what? Newsflash, actors are all Batwoman crazy. Although if anyone did tell spoilers, that trigger would drown it out. Yes, even the typed words. Thanks, Kronos. A-Team says, I liked an optimistic future. Sue me. I do too. Don't get me wrong, A-Team. I would prefer an optimistic future. And the thing is, though, is that I'm not... Even though we'll see where it goes, I'm not entirely convinced that Picard is as pessimistic as everybody makes it out to be. Picard is disenfranchised for sure, but that doesn't mean Earth is in a dystopian future. It just means he's not very fond of the current policies of the Federation or Starfleet. And there's a difference there. That's like saying, oh man, I wish I lived in a country like the United States, but instead I live in the United States when Trump is president. Huh? Daniel says, if Mecca hates Picard, she will hate Section 31 with a passion. Well, I'm sure she already does. But the Section 31, I'm against the concept of that show, but we'll see what they do. I wonder if Starfleet ever let civilians back on starships after the Dominion War. In the Enterprise D, they had civilian writers and the civilian bullion barber. Yeah, I'm wondering. I'm willing to bet not after the war. I don't think so. At least I don't believe there was any mention of civilians on the Enterprise E. I don't see you, Bird of Prey 5, nor Trek Yards as part of the Phantom Menace. You guys are way too rational and unbiased for them. Well, you know what? I've considered myself a member of the Phantom Menace, but really not so much anymore. Kronos says, anti-Trekker. Kronos. Garcia says, oh, there were more names, but only 150 characters allowed. That's all right. Daniel says, Antrigger, nitpicking nerd, was talking about Star Trek, and he said Roddenberry would not have liked Deep Space Nine. That is very true. In fact, Roddenberry was pitched the idea of Deep Space Nine before he died, and he did not like it at all. And so he felt that Star Trek should always take place aboard a starship. Now, this was before they even started talking about a war with the Dominion. He would have gone Batwoman crazy over that. Let's see. I got the impression the Romulan spit on Daj so that he could be beamed up, and she got beamed up as the rifle exploded. No, I think she's dead, especially since we already know she's got a twin sister. Heck, Roddenberry wouldn't have liked a lot where TNG went later in the series. No, he didn't. He objected to the best of both worlds. He hated that. Anything where there's combat, he hates. Super Blubberpuss says, I watched Star Trek since the 70s and attended conventions since the 80s. You're right about Roddenberry. Indeed, my friend. Warning, nerd rant, warning. Yes, that's true. I was ranting. Betty says, will you and Lore Reloaded get together to review Picard episodes? I don't know. I haven't talked to him recently. My schedule's really messed up right now. I'd love to. He and I, Lore and I used to do reviews of all the Discovery Season 1 episodes as they were launched. And it was a lot of fun. D says, well, might be unpopular opinion, but I did not like the feel of Picard so far. Just my completely biased subjective opinion, but completely support Ed Trigger's opinion views. Well, here's the thing, D. The way you just said that, I have zero issue with that. And by the way, you're not in it. I mean, you in this live stream, I mean, since I talk a little bit more positively about it, there might be more people that like it in this live stream than typical live streams. But believe me, it's not an unpopular opinion to say that you didn't like Picard. But you saying I didn't like the feel of Picard, that's perfectly reasonable. But for you to say it's evil, it's horrible, it's crapping all over everything, and it's like, really, just take a pill, all right? Critics saw 3 episodes, audience only 1. Well, yeah, but it's these are not critics in the Phantom Menace that are talking about 3 episodes. These are Phantom Menace members that have seen 1 episode, the same episode that the rest of us have seen. You got it right, Andy Drucker, in your comment. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so just so you guys know, if in fact you want me to read your comment, that's what says it there, is that if you don't put @anti-trekker in the comment, it won't highlight, and we got 120 people watching, so I can't keep up with every single chat as much as I would like to. So make sure you put @anti-trekker in your comment, or very good chance I will miss it. Stuart says, the only thing that is nagging me with all the videos about Picard is they keep saying synth. I'm not a synth. I'm not cyborg regarding the twin, and not cyborg regarding the twins. You're right. Technically, the twins are cyborgs, even if their brain is entirely synthetic. Hasn't anybody seen Terminator? Speaking of the Phantom Menace, they made a big deal out of how Galaxy's Edge was emptied when it opened. However, my folks visited the one in Orlando last week, and it was packed. Well, they're not talking about it now because I guess it doesn't fit the narrative. I don't know. I mean, Galaxy's Edge, I'll probably check it out eventually, but yeah. And Brian says, how did those guys show up and start shooting in San Francisco, though? Critical Drinker brought up some good points. How did they show up and start shooting? They used transporters. How did Dawes show up? She has a freaking positronic brain that apparently can hack into Starfleet security, which is something that Picard even said. But, and so, yeah, I'm sorry, Critical Drinker, did they explain where they came from? No. Why? Are you going to blow the whole wad of who the bad guys are and what their plot is in episode 1? No, that's not a good point unless this was it. Like, if you were done with the series and they never bothered to explain these people coming to shoot Dodge, then yeah, fine. You would have a perfectly valid point. You watched 1/10 of the story. 1/10. So you got to get through the whole story before you can make points like that and have it be valid. I'm not going to fault the show for not explaining everything in episode 1 of 10 in a serialized show. I keep coming back, even though Anti-Trigger is a warmonger. Well, thank you, Richie. Tiki says, were you one of those people defending the Phantom Menace feverishly in 1999? I will be honest with you, Tiki. I didn't get into the fight over the Phantom Menace, but I would have if I were online at the time. And I know you might be saying, what? And it's not because I think it's the best of the Star Wars films. At the time, I'd probably say it was the worst of the Star Wars films. But I got to go to the world premiere. And that's the one and only time in my life I've been to a world premiere. It was so freaking epic. And so I will always have a soft spot for the Phantom Menace. And granted, I'm the first to admit that the Phantom... And that's why I wasn't like out there trying to defend it, because it wasn't that good. But, I'm the first to admit that, yeah, I don't want to listen to Senate debates about trade routes and taxes in a Star Wars film. But holy crap, that fight between Darth Maul, Obi-Wan, and Qui-Gon... At the time, we've never seen anything like that. Of course, now there's 100 videos on YouTube even better than that. Ryan versus Dorkman. Holy crap. But at the time, that was the ultimate lightsaber fight. Jack Kirby, yes. Jack Kirby is responsible for the design of almost all of Stan Lee's creations. Small Yoda 3 says, Andrew, I don't get it. Why must some act like Picard Episode 1 is like Discovery Episode 1? Disco really screwed up canon, but Picard didn't really violate. I know! That's the thing. Like, I'll tell you why I was pissed off at Discovery Episode 1. Because the Vulcan hello... The very name of the episode, and when they explain what a Vulcan hello is the opposite of the freaking Vulcans. And so, yeah, Discovery Episode 1 had some legitimate gripes, right? But no, Picard, this takes place 20 years after the last time we saw Picard. There's nothing in here that violates canon, and in fact, it's logical to extrapolate that Starfleet would still be hawkish. Now, we don't know what the whole thing with the synths is. We will find that out over time, but, and maybe it'll be suck, maybe it'll be awesome. I don't know yet. But it's way too early to judge. And what these people are doing is they've said, well, I've read leaks that in Episode 3 we're going to find out that Data is really transgender or something, And it's like, you know what? If that happens in Episode 3, I'll complain about it in Episode 3, okay? But for right now, it's not bad. But that's the problem when all you do, and this is a big problem with a lot of people in the Phantom Menace, because a lot of people in the Phantom Menace, all they do in their YouTube channel is read articles and bitch about it. That's what they do. And, I'm sorry, that it's an easy way to make YouTube videos. I could put out 4 or 5 videos every week easily if that's all I did was read an article and complain about it. Maybe I should. I don't get it. Why must some... I just read that. Valor says, it seems almost none of the Phantom Menace, including Gary or Doomcock, knew about the 4 people behind Trek. Oh, Doomcock knows. Doomcock is the first person to acknowledge that. Even though he also frequently cites the vision of Gene Roddenberry, and I disagree with him on that, because Star Trek is not Gene Roddenberry's vision. Carlos says that I'm not loyal to you, Editor, just like your opinion. Well, I appreciate that, Carlos. Anti-Truckers hate Stan Lee. Okay, now I know I'm on the right side. I do not hate Stan Lee. I said that Stan Lee and Gene Roddenberry have that in common, that Stan Lee takes credit where credit is not due. And so, I mean, most people don't, I'm sorry, I know we're all nerds here, right? This is a nerd kind of group. But outside of the nerd community, guess how many people know about Jack Kirby? The answer is nobody. But everybody knows who Stan Lee is. You know what Stan Lee should be out there saying instead of Excelsior? Jack did it. Stan Lee didn't solely create Marvel's Golden Age for sure. He directed the artists, but most of them really great ideas came from people like Kirby and Ditko. Yeah, exactly. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Stan Lee didn't contribute to the Marvel age of comics, as he liked to call it. And he certainly did contribute a lot to it. But he's taking credit for everything. Most people think Stan Lee created every superhero character ever. In fact, there are people that believe that Stan Lee created Captain America. Which, by the way, Stan Lee's first job was working on Captain America. My brother Walter can't stand Doomcock for some reason. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's because he doesn't like supervillains. No, not Trek Yards, stupid phone keyboard. Okay, I just want to make sure because it seemed weird that you included Trek Yards in that specifically like that. Darren says, "Oh, I still haven't seen Captain Marvel." Oh, you're not missing much. I mean, like I said, it's not a great Marvel movie, but it's not the dumpster fire that many in the fandom make it out to be. And remember, guys, I mean, I lost hundreds of subscribers because I said Captain Marvel was okay. I actually kind of like the idea of a guarded federation that doesn't take risks with its people. And, you know, I don't mind that. That's the thing. The Federation, keep in mind that the way that they're kind of portraying things is that Romulus had a crisis, but at the same time, so did the Federation. And the Federation was like, whoa, 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 we need to take care of our own. And Picard was upset about that. I'm not. You know what? I'm sorry, but if there's a major catastrophe in Mexico, and at the exact same time, there's a major catastrophe in New Jersey, guess what? I'm going to say, help the people in New Jersey, then help the people in Mexico. Sorry. That's just being realistic about it. Gary, Critical Drinker, and even Doomcock have stated in varying degrees that they're very interested in seeing how Picard unfolded. Me thinks they like Picard more than they're letting on. I think so too. I still like episode 1. It had good acting, nice music, and decent effects. We'll see if it keeps a good story going. Also, the bunnies are amazing. How dare you? And I didn't say the bunnies were bad. Sorry I'm late. I was enjoying DS9. Well, that's hard to fault you for. I love DS9. I still consider DS9 the best of the second generation Trek. And for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, first generation Trek was the original series and the animated series. Second generation of Trek was TNG, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and Enterprise. And third generation of Trek is everything from Star Trek 2009 to today. I found an interesting fan idea that Lieutenant J from Star Trek The Next Generation was actually a Section 31 operative on the Enterprise D. Well, Darren, once again, your superior knowledge of Star Trek The Next Generation is showing because I'm not sure who Lieutenant J is. Roddenberry would have got me too'd so hard, that's very true. Epic Beard says, when Andy gets done ranting, I'm off to Enterprise Season 2. Hurry up, Andy Trekker. Life with Matthew says, it was fun having you on on the Picard's chat stream. Too bad you're working this week during the daytime. Yeah, I'm sorry, Life with Matthew. I have no control over my schedule right now, which I hate, but that's just the way it is. But hopefully, I don't know. There's like 5 different schedules up for grabs for next week. I don't know which one I'm going to get, but whichever one I get will be my schedule for the next like 8 months. So I'm hoping that I get one where I have the mornings off. That'll give me time in the morning to work on videos and occasionally participate in live streams. 0918 says, AI War in Space Above and Beyond was way better. I have not seen Space Above and Beyond, so I can't speak to that. I think I saw the first episode, but it didn't hook me, so I didn't watch the series. I have trouble with you when you say, I'm sorry, please stop saying that. You don't need to be sorry for saying anything. Well, you know, Kronos, it's, I guess I've been hanging out with Captain Foley too much. It's the Canadian rubbing off on me. I think that there's a conspiracy going on and something is happening on the Borg Cube. Well, yeah, there's definitely a conspiracy going on. And what's going on that Borg Cube, I am very curious about. And Darren sent pictures of Lieutenant J. Oh, okay. I now I remember her face. But why is it that she's a Section 31 operative? That doesn't make any sense to me. But thank you, Darren, and thank you for the $2. Boy, if all I got to do to get money from you is to say I don't know who that is, I don't know who you. I can't think of anybody. If they remastered the original Star Wars Battlefront, I bet the fandom would hate it and say it don't have the same feel, or they're lazy and can't make good games. Yeah, I know. I don't understand why everybody just wants to hate, and I'm so tired of it. Indie Tiger throws $5 in. Thank you so much. Nobody knows who Lieutenant J is except Darren because he's a bubblehead. Yeah, I tell you, Darren is an encyclopedic personality. That's what I'm going to call it from now on. And thank you, by the way, for the $5. I truly do appreciate it. But and don't get me wrong, that's not a fault, Darren. You have an incredible mind, my friend. I know, Kronos. I'll try not to say I'm sorry. But Darren, you have an incredible mind because you can hold on to so much knowledge on this stuff. It blows my mind. It really does. You would be proud. My toilet looks like where your avatar now. Jeez, Kronos. Oh, man. I did not need to know that. I truly did not need to know that. Ryan says, I'm very happy to see Patrick Stewart as Picard. I'm looking forward to seeing more of the old cast make appearances. Probably won't see Spot the Cat, though. Yeah, I'm actually, I'll tell you, based on the trailers, the scene I'm really looking forward to, and I know this sounds stupid and sappy, but I am looking forward to it, is the scene of Picard and Riker sitting on the bench on the lake. That just looks like two old friends catching up, and I don't know why, but that looks like a great scene. I may get to watch Trek about this time next month after Anti-Trigger gets done ranting. Wow, not that bad. Yeah, I found the reviews of Picard Episode 1 from Drinker and Red Letter to be rather slanted. Yeah, and like I said, the thing is that people are saying things that are just factually incorrect. Like Romulans having acid blood. That's been said in at least 4 reviews that I've seen. Galaxy's Edge took off after they brought in original trilogy characters. The first few months were exclusively sequel trilogy related. That could be Resolute. I don't know. All I know is the only thing I know about Galaxy's Edge is apparently they're having a problem with people stealing their awesome sporks, which I don't understand that because sporks are not awesome. To be fair, I was one of those people defending the Phantom Menace in 1999. Well, that's fine. Like I said, I didn't hate it. I just didn't think it was the best. But I have a very, very sentimental spot for it because I got to go to the world premiere. Carlos says, Anti-Trigger, the rumor is that the first 3 episodes of Star Trek Picard are decent, but after 4, things will slide. Maybe I'm watching it for science gaffes and Picard. Everyone else don't care. Well, here's the funny thing. Like, I got into it. Man, we got into a fight yesterday. Tentacle Pentacle and I were going at it yesterday. Because here's the thing with Star Trek and science. With the exception of the original series, science on Star Trek is, for the most part, magic. And I know people don't like to hear that, but it's true. All all they do is, oh no, we have a problem. Hey, throw in science. In fact, they would write in the script to put in some technobabble here, that they would then have their science consultants figure out some technobabble to throw into that place so that we can then make a beam that will fix the problem or whatever it is. And so science is just magic. And so people that are saying, well, Star Trek is based in real science. And when I said, okay, Heisenberg compensator. That's from the original series, right? Heisenberg compensator is a ridiculous and ludicrous statement to anybody that understands the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. However, they used it in order to get around the fact that anybody could say the uncertainty principle would prevent a transporter from working. So they have Heisenberg compensators. Fine. Now, fast forward to Star Trek Picard. Oh my God, they're saying cloning an android. That's just crazy talk. Yeah, like Heisenberg compensators. Or like using your deflector dish to open up time portals. Oh, and it can also open up portals to other dimensions. Oh, and it can also turn, fix. You can do anything with the freaking deflector dish. It's just stupid. So, the cloning, and the thing is, we're talking about 25th century tech. How do you know that a positronic brain can't be cloned? So what if it is, a synthetic brain? That doesn't mean it can't be cloned. It just means that it didn't have an organic origin. But if it's a synthetic process, and it's not like it's made out of something that we know. I mean, it's not, it's like, well, gee, if it's made out of plastic, it couldn't possibly be cloned. Well, how do you know it's made out of freaking plastic? Get it? You don't know what it's made out of. It could be made out of something that can be grown and cloned. And since let's see. I'm trying to catch up. The only prequel movie I saw in theaters that I love was Revenge of the Sith. Well, I saw all the Star Wars movies in theaters. Cinnabon says, which is worse, the Phantom Menace Picard hate or Bird's opinion on the size of the Romulan Empire? Oh, the Phantom Menace hate is much worse. Bird's opinion on the size of the Romulan Empire, I can say, well, he has reason. And keep in mind, Bird has actually said that, well, on the one hand, it appears that the Romulan Empire is huge, but on the other hand, there are things that support what Anti-Trekker's saying about it. So Bird is willing to be reasonable about it, even though he maintains a different position than mine. That I have nothing but respect for. We can disagree all day long, but we don't have to be dicks about it, right? Like you guys have seen, when I went on to Midnight's Edge or I went on to Friday Night Tights, actually Friday Night Tights wasn't that bad, but Midnight's Edge, not the regular Wednesday show, but when I went on to the Rise of Skywalker special that I went on, they were just being rude about it. And very disrespectful. And, and to this day, and like, you guys know, I love Gary to death. He might be listening right now because I know he lurks on the show quite frequently. But I love Gary to death. And he knows what I'm about to say is true because I've told him to his face this. I cannot stand the fact that to this day, he insists on calling J.J. Abrams Jar Jar. And the reason he calls him Jar Jar is to disrespect him. Well, so you're just being insulting, you're being crude, and you're being rude, and I'm sorry, that's uncalled for. Darren says, I didn't mind Phantom Menace. I would have preferred to know more about Calgon. Take me away. I forgot how to spell his name. But the pod race was good. And the Qui-Gon, that's what you were thinking of. And the sword fight was epic. Yeah, the pod race was all right. The pod race was a little long, but I did enjoy it. The sword fight was freaking awesome. Bradley Fenton says, what did you think about Discovery shuttles in Picard? That's one of the things that really bug me. Because there's absolutely no reason for them to be using 150-year-old shuttles, especially when we've seen dozens of shuttles in between them. And by the way, a good video on that, by the way, is from E.C. Henry. All right, E.C. Henry isn't an outright jerk. He just says, yeah, this looks like it's lazy because, hey, I can, and he actually, he knows how to do 3D models and stuff. So he put together a quick 3D model of a shuttle. He said, it took me, a few hours to do this. Why the hell didn't they do that? Tubin says, I'm a bit late to the stream. Welcome, birds, turds, and nerds. Welcome, Tubin. I'm sorry that I'm way behind as usual. I can't, man, I gotta get better at this. I've heard of Kirby. I nerd. Well, yeah, you're a nerd, Kronos. That's the thing. But you've heard of Kirby. But you know what? Your average like my mom never heard of Jack Kirby. Right? My sister has never heard of Jack Kirby. Trek Yards had a video. I was looking at Star Trek Discovery and Picard and seeing where the content, content and what happened to Starfleet with the season 3 trailer episode and the card speculating. I haven't seen all of the Trek Yard stuff on it. I know that they did their little thing about where Commander Calkins thinks that because the one chick said it would take 1,000 years to make a sentient android, that's a hint to what's going on in Discovery because it takes place roughly 1,000 years later. The Vulcan hello sounds a bit suggestive. Indeed it does. Doomcock streams are 12 hours too long for me. He does, man. When he streams, he goes for marathons for sure. And Kronos says, haven't seen Captain Marvel, no interest. And if you don't want to see it, don't see it. It's not you don't have to see it to get the rest of the Marvel universe, and it's not one of their better movies. It's it's not a bad movie, but it's not a great movie either. All nerds should be praising your creator of Playboy. He was an inspiration to us all. Praising you, creator of Playboy? I am definitely not Hugh Hefner, so I don't know why you're saying that. I'm waiting for Brie Larson to allow me to watch Captain Marvel. That's what it is, yes. Darren says, Stanley accidentally admitted in a magazine article that Steve Ditko was the sole creator of Doctor Strange. His lawyers tried to get that information suppressed later on. I'm sure they did. Just now I got a notification for Nerdrotic. I'll wait to watch it later. Hey, look, don't get me wrong. You guys know I love Gary. If you go to hang out with Gary, I will hold no grudge against you. Isaiah says, I love Doomcock, and if he took over the government, I would support him to my dying breath. All hail Doomcock. Hey, I am a Legionnaire, and I still am a Legionnaire. I didn't cancel my Legionnaire status just because I disagree with him on some stuff. Mako says the Federation did want to help the Romulans, but they built a rescue armada. They just didn't want to continue with it after it got destroyed on Mars. Yeah. I agree. Rusty says, do you think Lore will be a part of Picard? Only if they're smart. I think Lore should be a part of Picard, and in fact, I think that Dahl should be a clone of Lore and not Data. Are you going to do what you did last week for Picard? Thomas, it depends, because here's the thing, I'm working right now, too. So, to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning, that'll be a challenge. I'll probably try to do it, but that means that my stream tomorrow night will be very, very brief so that I can get to bed. So be sure to just give me lots and lots of super chats so that I don't have to stream tomorrow. And thank you for the $2, Darren. I appreciate that. Chrono says, please don't deflect too fully. Don't be sorry. Don't say what you want to say just say what you want to say without being sorry. I get that, Kronos, and it's just a natural instinct in me that I don't want to offend people. That's not my goal. But sometimes, as you guys know, I go on these pretty serious rants. And, yeah, I do have a tendency to apologize for it. And I'll try to be better about it, Kronos. You keep holding me accountable. Lieutenant J wore all 3 colors of the uniform, red, gold, and blue, and was always there, lurking in the background, Section 31 operative, if there ever was one. Or they just figured you would never notice. Isn't there supposed to be a movie with... it's Tarantino and Shatner. No. Chili and roasted pickled garlic are not a great combination. That sounds explosive. Death Dealer says, I want to know, why is Riker retired when he should still be in command of the USS Titan? Maybe because he just wants to enjoy retirement with Troy. I mean, this is 20 years later. He could have been captain of the Titan for freaking 15 years, and then he decided to call it quits. Or maybe because you remember in the trailer, at least, you hear Riker's daughter calling Riker because Jean-Luc Picard was there. And so if that's the case, then it would make sense. Maybe when their daughter was born, they decided, you know what, let's not raise her on a starship. I wouldn't have a problem with that. And Jim Anderson spelt weird. So it's $5 in. Thank you so much as Andy Trekker gets some sleep. Thank you, my friend. Thomas says, tomorrow 2 satellites are going to pass over me 15 to 30 meters apart from each other. If they collided and I see debris, I'll send you some unless it's on my roof. I'm too lazy. All right. Why is your brain melting? Well, Jeff, because of all the hatred thrown at Picard. Do you think Laura will make an appearance? I hope so, but I don't know. Say my name, Andy Trekker. Kronos. Thomas says, I don't know technology, but don't people clone cell phones? Well, it's funny because that was part of the argument that I got into with Tentacle Pentacle yesterday, because he was trying to argue that cloning literally means that a biological process. And there are different definitions to clone, like most words. Let me see here. I'm going to bring it up here. Now, as many of you guys already know, I always use the same source when I'm looking up definitions, which is Merriam-Webster. And the only reason I use Merriam-Webster is because I want to be consistent. Now, there's the term clone as a noun, but that's not what we're talking about. They didn't say this person is a clone. They said they were able to clone data. That is clone as a verb. So, the term clone as a verb, according to Merriam-Webster, means to make a copy of, or to propagate a clone from. There you go. So, yeah, that's all clone means. DNA is a chemical. Yes, and you know what? They don't say DNA, and that's a funny thing about that, Galdorn, is that, and that's something the Tentacle Pentacle is. Well, you know, you need DNA in order to. They never mention DNA. Not once do they mention DNA in that episode of Picard. I'll go back and rewatch it, but I'm pretty sure they don't say anything about DNA. And the fact that people are saying, well, you got to have DNA to clone. So wait a minute. So you're telling me that 21st century cloning is the same as cloning in the 25th century? Really? Okay. So you don't think there are any significant advancements in cloning? Okay. Mr. Trent says, hey, crazy. How does robot expert graduating and is going to the Daystrom Institute and she doesn't know about Data till Picard tells her about him? Because she doesn't follow Starfleet? I mean, let me ask you this. Do you know who the most decorated soldier in the Iraq War was? I don't. The positronic, and by the way, there's a lot more people in Starfleet than there are in the United States military, so the fact that she doesn't know about Data shouldn't be all that surprising. And if you say, well, Data's the only android, okay, tell me the name of the first female soldier that was able to fight in the front lines. The positronic cloning thing from Picard made about as much sense to me as Magic Mushroom Teleportation Drive, but I'm rolling with both of them. Actually, positronic cloning makes more sense to me than the Magic Mushroom Drive. To be fair with cloning, when I'm talking to someone not in my field, I knowingly give inaccurate explanations because I know it will be the best way to get them to understand the concept. That's true. People do that all the time. Rock Solid says, Andrew, I don't have to be a dick. I'm just such an expert at it. It just happens. Well, that's different for you. You're just, you're just a natural, you know. And so congratulations for that, Rock Solid. Darren says, you dropped an F-bomb on the stream. That's a first. Did I? Did I actually say the F word? I don't think I... Wow, if I did, dang. I smell like garlic, that's all. I have spoken. How's the Hulk review coming along? Almost done? That's great. No, and that's part of the reason I'm doing some things behind the scenes to make it so that I can do that. And I can't talk about that right now. But once we have a little bit more stuff in place, I will be talking about it probably in the next few days. Who is Jack Kirby? Jack Kirby is an artist who in the 1960s created characters like the Fantastic Four and Spider-Man and the Avengers and all the other people that Stan Lee gets credit for. At least Edger isn't as far behind as Bird gets. Bird is often 30 minutes to an hour behind. Well, that's true. My parents haven't heard of Jack Kirby either. Wow, we have something in common. There you go, Kronos. Let's have you a cis O'Prey? What else do I not know about you? Well, no, she's not a cis O'Prey, but I do have a sister. She lives in Alaska. Yes, when Stan Lee created the Hulk, he told Kirby to create a good-looking monster that people can root for, and then he wanted him to be gray. Yeah, and Hulk is definitely not that. You need mods to start acting as chat curators, sort of like radio producers. I tell you, I've considered that, but I don't want. The problem is that I like the unfiltered conversation overall. But one thing that I will probably do whenever I can do this full time is have like nights like this. We'll probably just call it like free for all or whatever on certain nights of the week, and then other nights we'll probably have a panel discussion because those can be fun too, as long as you have the right people. I'm not much of a nerd. The only reason I've heard of Kirby is the Silver Surfer argument is as to which is better. Ah, fair enough. Captain Marvel wasn't bad. Oh, there goes another 1,000. Shut up, fight with Matthew. Don't jinx me. You are so far behind, I can't remember the last thing I commented. Well, what's that? I wasn't ranted while I wasn't ranted while typing. I haven't seen Captain Marvel. You are rather spicy and salty today. Ranting. Sorry. Yes. The hate thing has got me worked up. That's just the way it is. When I tried buying Captain Marvel the movie for real, the two guys at the counter questioned me for wanting to buy it because I'm white, and they weren't sarcastic. I could tell. That's weird. Rusty says, "Oh, sorry, Ant Trigger. I asked the same question twice. Didn't think you saw the first one." I know. You know what, Rusty? It's okay. Happens all the time, especially people that are new to the stream, because they're like, "Oh, I asked it like 10 minutes ago, so Ant Trigger must have skipped it," and then they realize I just didn't get to it yet. Carlos says, "Ant Trigger." By the way, Carlos, I caught it, but don't forget to put the dash in between anti and Trekker because it doesn't highlight unless you do. Science may be magic in Trek, but we have decades of Trek science to compare to our reality. Having a high school education, it's not possible to clone artificial life, not from a neuron. Well, here's the thing. With a high school education, you probably also know there's no such thing as a synthetic neuron. So, once you can create a synthetic neuron, maybe you can clone it. Daniel says, Anti-Tracker, Geordi LaForge was on Utopia Planitia shipyards on Mars, and so we know it was destroyed by the synths, so Geordi is dead. There's a very good chance that Geordi is indeed dead, which is sad, but that is a possibility. It's also a possibility that we'll see Geordi somewhere else, like maybe he escaped. Or maybe he was taken captive. We'll find out. I asked last week when Midnight's Edge was on at its humanity become is humanity become the Imperium of Man, but on the side where we forgot how to make new stuff and just keeping it is I got yes from him. Well, he knows more about 40K than me because since you said Imperium of Man, I know you're talking about 40K. That's about it. Androids were destroying the shipyard in Picard to draw attention away from Romulans is like two competing minority groups trying to get government attention. Well, first of all, actually, here's the thing about the synths. And that a lot of people are not taking into account because a lot of people think the synths are rebelling. The synths are rebelling. No, they're not. They are definitely not. How do I know this? Because the whole conversation of the Daystrom Institute made it painfully clear that they are not sentient. They are following the programming of someone. There is a conspiracy going on. The synths are not rebelling. Someone programmed them to do that. And if I were a betting man, I'd say that person was either Lore or Maddox. Riker had a daughter. I assumed it was a son. I thought it was a daughter. I'm trying to remember from the trailer. John Ford said, I would like to see that Riker join Picard in solidarity after trying to save lives. That could be too. Yeah, we don't know why he left Starfleet, but hopefully we'll find out. And Jarcia puts another $2 in, says, Geordi was commanding the Challenger after the attack. Is that in the Countdown comic books? If so, I'll take your word for it. I haven't read the Countdown comics. Hello, world. But thank you, Jarcia. And please tell me if I'm butchering your name. I hope I'm not. Nightbreeze says, hi, how you doing? And Chief Cook says, we do, but submarine is different. Not sure. Oh, you're talking to Indy about something. Commander Shutter says, hey, Trigger, are you still playing Space Engineers? I'm 50% done with my version of Pillar of Autumn from Halo, designed and built in survival StarCraft voice. You require additional cobalt. I play it every once in a while. I haven't played it in a little bit. Honestly, just haven't had time, but going back to work and everything. At this point, I will tell you guys, every waking moment of my life is accounted for. I get up, and usually when I first get up, this morning I had a doctor's appointment. After that, got home, very quickly got ready, went to work, got off work, sat down for a few minutes to watch a couple of YouTube videos, started this live stream. After this live stream, I will go to bed. That's my day. The whole Bird of Prey family members downvoted you. Sassy as well. Yeah, very sad. Somebody hates me. Must be people in the Phantom Menace. Episode 9 of Picard, Beverly Crusher is confirmed dead. Daniels, please don't tell me spoilers from Picard, because first of all, you don't know that. You might have read that in some article, but you do not know that. I don't want to hear spoilers from Picard. Tentacle is in the house, says, someone is talking about me. Cloning, the way they used it in Star Trek Picard, is only a biological process. They said use a single particle and clone. They did not say a particle. They said a neuron. There is a difference. Yeah. Josh says, you're acting like Jerry from Geeks and Gamers. So here, eat a Snickers. You're not yourself when you're hungry. I'm not acting like Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. First of all, I've never said, hey, this is Anti-Trigger with another video. Because that would be really stupid of me to say that. Again, you're using the word clone figuratively. Actually, Tentacle, I read the definition of clone on this live stream. It's accurate. Wow, Trigger, you must have had a really bad first day back. Well, second day back, technically. But I can't talk about it. I wish I could. The Photoshop cloning tool doesn't use DNA, does it? No, it doesn't. The clone stamp tool does not use DNA. When's the Barbie review coming? I hate you, Roxall. Do you remember saying that Yosef looked like a James Bond villain? I was first. Yes, I do remember saying that, and I apologize if I stepped on your toes there, Kronos, but yes, I said that, and I only saw him for a second when Bird was streaming. I'm eating some yummy tomato soup. Ooh, that sounds good. I have heard computer experts refer to copying a computer as cloning that computer. Yes, because cloning simply means to make a copy of. Foley uses mods. Okay. How many subscribers equals full time? Well, A-Team, it's not necessary. There's not a magic number, because the problem is that you could have 1 million subscribers, but nobody's watching your videos, so it doesn't matter. But realistically, based on the kind of numbers that I usually get from my typical videos, coupled with how my live streams tend to do, I would say probably in the neighborhood of 50,000, and I could probably consider it. But it'll depend, because if I get 50,000 subscribers tomorrow, but none of them are watching the actual videos, then it's not going to matter. Peter David wrote a book called The Captain's Daughter, in which Sulu revealed that to the general public knew nothing about things like the Planet Killer and the Mirror Universe. Revealed that the general public knew nothing about things like the Planet Killer and the Mirror Universe. Gotcha. Yeah, that wouldn't be common knowledge. Why would you tell people, by the way, there's an invincible killing machine that eats planets out there. Fortunately, they stopped it, but we hope there's not another one. Howdy, Mr. Friend Buddy. Just listening while I'm playing on my arcade machine. Well, Mr. Wolverine, good to see you, and I hope you get a new high score. Foley should return here while drinking Royal Crown. Indeed, he should. Me and Foley been talking a little bit. I want to get him on the show as soon as possible. And speaking of Foley, it looks like he is streaming right now. Or posted a video, one of the two. No, it says live, so he's streaming right now. That jerk. Computers are also referred to as slaves to other computers, a figurative reference, I'm sure. Well, actually, the term slave, if you look it up, actually does specifically have a definition referring to electronics, where one electronic component that is controlled by another. Good Tea Nice House throws a couple of bucks in. Captain Geordi only existed in the Voyager episode Timeless. Yeah, that's the problem. We don't know what Geordi's fate is right now. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. Carlos says, Anti-Checker, and don't forget the dash again, Carlos. They mention of the neuron storing information. The mention of the neuron storing information was wrong. They act as gateways, passing information, not keeping it. I looked it up. I know they science nerds rule. Well, here's the thing, Carlos, and this is why I'm willing to forgive some of that. Again, Star Trek science is pretty much magic, and you're talking about a human neuron. Are you talking about a positronic neuron? Because are they exactly the same? Do they function exactly the same? We don't know. I mean, how many times did they talk about Data's positronic brain doing weird things that nobody could understand because it's so freaking advanced? We wore tennis shoes, goatees, and t-shirts. We wanted, underway. Oh, you're talking to India. I was like, what? Andrew just likes to skip chats. No, I don't. To put it simply, Jack Kirby's the greatest artist in comic book history, and Kirby Silver Surfer is the best without question. I like Jack Kirby's style, but I like John Byrne better. Maybe Geordi was on vacation. That's possible. Mr. Trent says, Antrager, not my field, but in the American Revolution, Deborah Sampson, who bound her chest and fought the British under the name of Robert Sirtliff. Point is Dage's field. It is Dage's field data, and it's famous. It's Dage's field data, and it's famous. So you're saying that she should know about data because she got a fellowship in robotics or cybernetics or whatever. Well, but here's the thing: and this is a legit question. I genuinely do not know the answer to this, and I don't think they've ever specifically said. Is the existence of Soonian androids classified? If the answer to that is yes, then why would they reveal that? And by the way, how many times in Star Trek The Next Generation do they go to some planet that's in the Federation and people look at Data funky? It's like, I'm an android. Oh, okay. Does Fallout 4 and Picard, I guess, take place in the same universe? No. And that's the thing. Just because the Federation is not going the way that Picard would want, it's not like it looks like Fallout 4. It's not dystopian. It's not post-apocalyptic. It's just not the way Picard would want it. Andrew, Trekyard's made a video called Spock Prime Still Alive, and I think he is. I don't. And I haven't seen that. I saw the video in my feed, but I haven't watched it yet. Yes, the Sith attacked Mars. Yes, that must be it. I had a theory that Spock may have faked his death, and in reality, he went back to the Prime Universe. That makes no sense. If he could just go back to the Prime Universe, why didn't he? I mean, why did he stay there at all? And why didn't he just go back and prevent the whole Kelvin universe from being created in the first place? The leader of the synths are the Borg. I disagree. I think the leader of the synths are either Maddox or Lore. It doesn't make any sense that the Borg would use synths. It just doesn't make sense. They would just send Borg. Remember in Star Trek Into Darkness, when we see Kelvin Spock contact Prime Spock, we see Prime Spock in a new jellyfish-like ship. I think he built another one of those ships on New Vulcan. I don't remember seeing a new jellyfish-like ship. Stroke that like button, folks. Thank you, Darren, in a weird way. I think you need a quicker way to work. Yes, I know you just spin your chair, you lucky SOB. Yeah, my work is like right there. Daniel says, Spock used it to go back to the Prime Universe, but left instructions to the other Vulcans to tell the Kelvin Spock that he passed away as a cover-up. To what end, Daniel? To what end? If you're pissing off the Phantom Menace, you're definitely doing something right. Continuing clap. This is Anti-Checker with another car video. Yeah, that will never be me. In Star Trek lore, what did Mars do as when we see it, 3 small ships get blown up? Well, in Star Trek Mars, what did Mars do as when we see it, 3 small ships get blown up? What do you mean, what did Mars do? The Mars Defense Force that was eliminated by the Borg was apparently 3 small ships. Is that what you're asking? Carlos says, Antrager, hey, you got it right that time. I praise your science acumen response, but using an artificial neuron to capture the essence of data is not feasible. They don't store data, they transmit to another neuron. Now, I understand that, Carlos, I do. But you're talking about a human neuron, you're not talking about a positronic one. And that's why I'm saying, do we know it's the same? And I know people say, well, you can't store 18 gigabytes of information in a single neuron. Why not? I mean, sure, we can't do that today, but maybe in 2399 we can. And that's a problem, by the way, with how advanced the tech is in Trek. People are acting like it's ludicrous, the idea that, they could just get from a single cell of Data's brain, they could get all this information when, look, what you could put on a little USB stick right now took rooms full of computers 1 generation ago. So don't tell me that a couple of 100 years from now, you won't be able to keep that much information in something the size of a single cell. OG Spock should have been sequestered immediately by Starfleet and debriefed 100 years of future events. Yeah, we don't know about that, but that does seem like that would be logical. But, you know, Spock's also said that he promised he would not interfere in events, so they could debrief him all day, and he'd just say, I'm not going to tell you anything. Stuart says, blood, wine, or Romulan ale? Romulan ale, my friend. Romulan effing ale. That is the only drink. Blood wine is for Klingons and pussies. And, you know, they're kind of the same thing. I mean, just being real here. Klingons, like bird of prey. Klingons. Honorless dogs. I'm going to get myself in trouble for that one. So, yeah. Jolan True. All right. Darren, according to dictionary.com, the word clone came in about 903 AD, before people knew about direct genetic manipulation. Well, there you go. So the term clone existed before we even knew about DNA. Woohoo! Sistra says, did you know that they changed the name of the cables you use to jumpstart Humvees with they're now called NATO cables? Okay. Never heard that. Rambling Canuck says, did you hear that Picard is being shown on CTV Space in Canada? Yes. I don't remember what channel, but I know that Captain Foley said he could see it on some weird channel that's in Canada. Jack Kirby's real strength was the monsters he designed during Atlas Comics era, before they changed their name to Marvel. Both Thing and Doctor Doom are reuses of his monsters. Yes, you could definitely spot Thing. I didn't know about Doom. Mr. Wolverine says, just as you said, hope you get a new high score. I did. How about that? Well, I guess I have powers? And so Star Trek is descience, and so is transporters tech and deflector dishes, sending people through time and realities. Yeah, well, if you're trying to say Star Trek science is kind of crazy, then yeah, I would agree. Oh, wow. Thank you for that, Darren. It's amazing how quick you come up with something like that. It's like you're just sitting there looking at that stuff all day, every day. Tentacle says, Data doesn't have neurons. That's why Star Trek Picard writers are idiots. Data had a positronic brain, meaning the brain uses positrons to simulate a brain. Really? You think that's what a positronic brain is? You know what a positron is, right? I mean, let's be real. If the brain was actually made up of positrons, then it's 1 billion times more advanced than what they're describing. When they say Data had a neural net, it means Data has a network of his brain that's more like a computer server than an actual cell. Of course you're going to say that, because you're basically trying to make everything the way it is today. If Daj was at the Daystrom Institute for Robotics and Cybernetics, she would have learned about Data. He was a primary subject of study, but she wasn't there yet. She had just gained the fellowship when she was having her wine with her boyfriend and the assassins showed up. I love how Auntie doesn't give a flute about your ranting. No, she can sit there and sleep very diligently, as you can see. Valor says, I think they are talking about the synths. It's hard to describe with so little space. It would take forever to explain. Might want to look it up later if you really want to know more. Okay. Data doesn't have cells in his brain. Data has particles in his brain. Tentacle? His brain is made of particles. A positron. Subatomic particles. So you're suggesting that his brain is so incredibly sophisticated that it's not even made up of atoms. It's made up of subatomic particles stitched together by Dr. Sung, in which case it is 1 billion times more sophisticated than anything that I'm suggesting. So you have fun with that, Tentacle. You have fun with that. And then they put wires and LEDs on it just for fun. I mean, quite frankly, if his brain was literally made out of positrons like you're trying to suggest here, his brain would be microscopic. And in fact, his entire brain would only be about the size of a cell. Was talking about the synths, androids at the Fallout universe. They're called synths, and the correlation I thought CBS was trying to get Fallout players to recognize the word. I think they're just trying to come up with a new way to refer to androids. They should have just called them androids. LOL Trigger was talking about the synths, androids, the Fallout. Oh, wow. The same comment posted twice. Gotcha. Wesley says, I missed a lot. Can you start over again? Sure.
When a humble turd.
Hey guys, Michael J. Crawford, the Anti-Trekker here. Rant. There you go. You're all caught up. Live with Matthew says, the cloning from one cell is silly, but it's not canon breaking. Not worth calling Picard over before seeing more of it. I even gave Star Trek Discovery more of a shot than that. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. Death Dealer says, blood wine is a warrior's drink. Yeah. You know what else the Klingons consider a warrior's drink? Prune juice. So, forgive me if I doubt the strength of blood wine. How is the Romulan ale? Is it whiskey? No, it is actually mostly rum. Darren says it's actually Bacardi. I think I'll drink too. I've got some Packlet Firewater around here. So there you go. Chrono says, comply, Anti-Trekker and all. It's blue Gatorade. No, you know what? I don't hate blue Gatorade, but no, that is real. Do you think we'll see the Enterprise F in this? I hope not. I know a lot of people want to see it. I don't. If you weren't so busy ranting, you could have joined Foley and Bridge Crew. I know, but I was too busy ranting. Jaeger says, what will be your next battle breakdown? I'm not sure yet, because here's the problem that I'm running into is, man, I have no freaking time. But I haven't decided for sure yet. There's a couple of battles that I'm considering. The problem that I've found with most second generation Trek is that it's not clear what's going on in a lot of the battles. Because what they do is they simply show the bridge and the commander says, evasive pattern Delta Alpha 7. Oh, the enemy's closing. Attack pattern Beta. You know, whatever happened to hard to port, hard to starboard, full reverse? Sorry. Tanya's the best drink to get drunk. Tranya's the best drink to get drunk. Now, I'm not a big fan of Tranya, but it's all right. Okay, yes, you got me all figured out. I just sit here all day collecting and filing images from the internet. Yeah, I figured as much. Daniel says, Star Trek is science, and so is transporters, tech, and deflector dishes, sending people through time and realities. Okay, Star Trek is science, and so is transporters, tech. Okay. As demonstration that clone can have more general meaning, we just cloned the cloning argument from yesterday. Yes, that's very true. Tentacle says, yes, Star Trek science has always been based on what is today. They come up with concepts to bypass the problems of today. Star Trek never have redefined science. Never have redefined science. That's all they do with science. With current Star Trek technology, didn't know you use cyberspace, so I couldn't have Data have his mind linked to cyberspace, and he was always linked up to the Enterprise D. That could be. Let's see. But could not have cloned Data. There was nothing to clone. They accidentally cloned Crichton. They cloned an angry service droid and Chicken Vindaloo. Okay. Tentacle says, we use electron computers today, so why can't there be a positron computer? Why is a positron computer? Really? Okay, Tentacle, are you... Wow. Please give me an example of what you call an electron computer, please. Specifics. Give me... in fact, you have the brand. Is it a Dell Electron? That was some good ranting. Thank you. If his brain was made of positrons, it would be a bomb, since it's antimatter. That's true, too. D. Newton says, maybe his brain is made out of positrons, also known as anti-electrons. Data's antimatter brain. Sorry, just had to be a little sarcastic. No, that's okay. That's absolutely true. So what Tentacle is suggesting is that Data's brain is made out of antimatter. And yet he thinks I'm crazy because they cloned it. Hey, I have to correct you. Worf is the only Klingon who liked prune juice and called a warrior's drink. The Klingons also drank something called warnog. Yeah, warnog is actually eggnog, but with water in it. Shields up, shields down. Somebody was paying attention to that stream. Daniel says, Anti-Trekker, why don't you think transport tech and deflector shields sending people through time science? The government is doing it now. Where do you think the ideas came from? Daniel? The government is not doing that right now. Sorry, I understand. You know, you're into those conspiracy theory things. That's fine. That's your bag. I'm not going to knock you for it, but I don't buy into that stuff. Carl says, prune juice might react with Klingon stomach differently than ours and slightly toxic to them. It's like a strong alcoholic drink. Or Klingons are just always really backed up, because if they got too, yeah. What's to say they don't have two of both? Darren says, yeah, Kirk always gave actual orders that we could understand. Reverse engines, all astern, 1/4 impulse power, back off versus initiate Kuma maneuver. Yeah. Thomas says they used to sell this at the Trek Experience, and then puts a link to something. Ah, yes, a Romulan ale bottle. That's very cool. I wanted to get one of those. I wish, but that's actually just like a beer. But that would be cool to have. But I'm not paying $50 for it. Personally, I think the cloning and the cloning, a hyper advanced algorithm. It's like old school Minesweeper, where each cell tells you about the cells around it. That's an interesting idea. Jaeger says there's a chance that Lore the android would pop up in Picard. I think there's a chance. We know Lore was never destroyed. Last we saw Lore, he was being disassembled after Descent Part 2. So we don't know what happened to him. What if Maddox got a hold of him and put him back together? Good T Nice House puts $5 in. Thank you, and says, wasn't Data's mother more advanced? She aged, had sweat glands, also had emotions. Where's Lore and Lol being stored? Are they on Veridian 3 with the Enterprise D? Well, okay, so first of all, Lol's positronic brain failed. And my understanding is, because we talked about this yesterday, is that Data gave Lol's body to Maddox for study. As far as Lore, they didn't say where they were taking him, only that he was being disassembled after Descent Part 2. As for Data's mom, the interesting thing about her is that at the last we saw her, she was programmed to believe that she was a real person, and if she was ever to discover that she was synthetic, that she would immediately shut down, which means that she's a non-factor because she has no idea that she is what she is. How can you reverse impulse engines when there are no impulse engines pointing forward? Quantum. Let's see. And then, of course, the chat jumped. So where were we? Let's see. Did you know the... Okay, let's see. Darren says, did you know that when Bizarro was first created, he wasn't genetically cloned? He was created by a duplicating ray. And they still said he was cloned. Yeah, well, technically that's true, because cloning just means make a copy. The computer you're on right now is using an electron computer, using electrons to simulate ones and zeros inside the CPU. Okay, Tentacle. You're right. The computer moves individual electrons around to simulate ones and zeros. Positrons are not antimatter. Okay, Tentacle. You said sorry again. Apologize for that, Kronos. I'll try not to. The coolest thing about Romulan ale is that it's usually illegal. That makes Coors beer on the East Coast in the early 70s. It's good because you aren't supposed to have it. In this post-Epstein world, anything is possible, says Yeager. Frodo Lone Wolfie says, Antchecker, hey dude, since in Picard that chick said it would take 1,000 years for flesh and blood androids, won't that mean androids will be the bad guys in Star Trek Discovery? That's something that Commander Cockings posited on Trek Yards. That could be an Easter egg, a foreshadowing, if you will, but I don't think it's a direct link. Terry West says, I really wonder what happened to Lal and Lore. Well, now you know. Lal was donated Maddox. Lore was disassembled. We don't know where he is. I think it would be cool if Lore came back with a different actor, Lore having disguised himself with cosmetic redesign. That would actually make sense. Maddox from Season 2, Measure Man, still alive. Wow, he should be 110 by 23.99. Why? Was Maddox older than Picard? I don't think he was. After TOS, they almost always say set a course, but never give bearings, like course 114 Mark 8. That's so damn annoying to me as a sailor. I understand. I bet you all Q will be in the last episode. Well, that's just because you've been reading leaks. Are the writers of Star Trek Picard? Are they drama, science, hogwash, throw stuff at the wall, don't care at all type of writers? I don't know the writers personally. So as far as if they're drama, science, hogwash, throw stuff at the wall, don't care what type of writers, I'll let you know what I think after the season is over. As far as genre, they're obviously trying to write a melodramatic sci-fi opera. Anti-Drecker is part synth. Don't tell him. Well, that was weird. Lore was disassembled and then the pieces were destroyed. I fear Lore is gone forever. I don't think they said the pieces were destroyed, did they? Well, I think the thrusters can achieve 1/4 impulse speed, just like impulse engines can get you to half a warp. Actually, correction on that, Darren. The impulse engines can get you to 3/4 based on Star Trek The Motion Picture. Sulu set a cruising speed of warp 0.5, but then after the wormhole incident and they took it off of the warp drive, they were cruising at warp 0.7, I believe. Mabry, Violin, Vulcan, and humans walk into the room. What would the discussion be like? Oh, Membari, I presume you mean. Volon and Vulcan and humans walk into a room. What would the discussion be like? Quite illogical. No. You can't just say that. Quantum, you said, sorry, again. Quantum. The Tentacle says, yes, what do you think electricity is? It's pushing electrons in a wire. Do you even science? Yes, because we all refer to electricity as electrons. Hey, look, I have an electron light. Yeah, everybody says that, right, Tentacle? Oh, look, I have an electron remote. Yeah, everybody says that. Look, I have an electron storage device. Everyone says that. Edgar, according to the Food Network, 1 ounce blue I can never pronounce that, and 2 ounces vodka with an ice-filled glass, fill with seltzer water, and a splash of lemon lime soda, and garnish with blueberries. Is that their recipe for Romulan ale? That sounds good. Anti-Trekker is Romulan ale. Okay. Oh, crap, what if Lore redesigns himself into a female? Nah, the feminists wouldn't allow that. That would be hilarious, actually. Chief Cook says, Anti-Trigger without the dash. Don't forget the dash, Chief Cook. What do you think will happen if Picard meets Janeway? Will they sit and drink Earl Grey and coffee? Probably. I don't think Janeway's showing up. How's work? Work sucks. I can't talk about it. Boy, am I pissed off. But I can't talk about it. Frodo Lone Wolf, he says, hey, Trigger, oh no, that really was a guess from Five Queens. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Where is it said that Data gave Lal's body to Maddox? Well, I got it from very good authority, that authority being Darren Wagner. Told me yesterday. That stare moment was really cringy. Sorry. Stuart, I said sorry again. Dang it. I'm trying to break myself of that. Oh, man, Kronos. In the original Star Trek series, was there a world when there were synth-like humans Captain Kirk deal with, if I remember correctly? Yes, it's called Mud. However, the difference is, number one, those synths were of an alien origin. So they were not Soonian androids, and they were not androids made by anybody in the Federation. They were alien androids. And the other thing about them is that they were not true. They were not sentient androids like Data. They could function independently to a certain extent, but they all required Norman, which was a computer complex, to guide them and control them. And Norman was easily deactivated by confronting him with a paradox. Warp 0.7 under impulse power makes sense. I missed that, and TMP must have fallen asleep during that boring movie. That's why I call it a caffeine movie. Yeah, I'm not going to lie and say that TMP was like a riveting, exciting film, but, you know, I enjoyed it even as a kid. But yeah, I get it. He's right about the basics of how a computer works. The basic component is called a gate. Either it has or doesn't have an electron, making it 1 or 0. I understand that, Resolute, but nobody calls it an electron computer. That's my point. Frodo alone will be an electron computer is something that nobody has ever said. I'd like to know if Janeway will ever find out about the spore drive. Trek history right there. That would be funny. It's official. He cheats by using the word quantum. Kronos. Quantum. I had electron light. That made me laugh. Edger, question: do the torpedoes in Star Trek only produce heat and light, or is there some sort of kinetic force they create too? From my understanding, the photon torpedoes are a matter-antimatter warhead, so they would create a huge, basically be like a thermonuclear explosion, but you require much less material for it, and you can set a very, very high yield in comparison. Tentacle says, yes, everyone says clone when it comes to robots, right? Everyone says that. Are we playing word games? Everyone says, oh, my phone was cloned. That is a common phrase, Tentacle. So yes, people do say that. Hey, this hard drive was cloned. That's actually a common term. Talk to an IT guy. So yeah, that's actually not all that uncommon. But saying electron computer, I have never heard that until you said it in this chat. Lol really left a lasting impression on me. I always thought Data dismantled her and stored her in the lab on the Enterprise D. No, I take Darren's word for it because Darren has a frickin' photographic memory or something. You forgot the tip jar. Oh, I did. I'm sorry. I'll bring back the tip jar tomorrow. Enter, remember that GIF I sent you yesterday? It's happening again. It is indeed, Thomas. It is. JP's Bison says, we drink every time Anti-Trekker says sorry. Well, I better not say it anymore. Sorry. Anti-Trekker, Janeway died of a woman cancer years before Picard. That's not a fact or anything. It's just me thinking onto my keyboard, and I didn't tell you Lol went to Maddox. Someone else did. Oh, I thought it was you, Darren, so maybe my memory is faulty. Illogical. Norman, coordinate. Yeah, don't forget the Android copy machine. I still hear that voice screaming, Harcourt, Fenton Mud. Yes. Geordie LaForge actually joined the Empire. He got tired of being attacked by Dracula, exploding walls, faulty elevators, and being left to die. Sidious gave him the IST Earl Grey. The funny thing is that would be true. Everything he says is a lie. I am lying. Are we also androids? There were also androids in the TOS episode, What Are Little Girls Made Of? Yes, and also alien androids. Edgar, computer scientists called an electron computer. Okay. Jerk. Quantum. The thing I hate sometimes about Star Trek is that they never went back to places like Guardian Forever's planet or Mud's planet. Fanfic does that. It's what they probably think. Yeah, it's the funny thing. Yeah, you would think that, Yesterday's Sun, good book. If you haven't read it, that's about Spock's son from All Our Yesterdays. And it's actually really interesting. But They used the Guardian of Forever in a way that makes perfect sense. But nope, they never went back there except for in the animated series once. When dealing with quantum computing, the old computer is called an electron computer. Okay. And you got a quantum computer lying around? Again, you're using the word clone figuratively. No, I'm actually using the word clone quite correctly. The word clone as a verb means to make a copy of. Anti-Trigger, repeat after me, please. Come back, William Shatner. We need James back. No. You know what? William Shatner, I've met William Shatner. He's a nice guy. Love William Shatner. And I will tell you, he's my childhood hero. If he wants to be retired, let him be retired. The man is 80 years old. Let him rest. Let him enjoy his golden years. He's a great man. He gave us a great character. Let it be. Clone and PC lingo means copy. Star Trek Picard doesn't work as a copy. Doesn't use the work as copy. Prove it. Now you have to be promoted to Dick. Alexa, play death metal at 3 a.m. That'd be hilarious if Bird was snoozing and watching this and that actually happened. Beside human, what's your favorite Star Wars species? And maybe be the best looking woman, Twi'lek, Torgutta, Chiss, or Zarbark. I sent you something on Discord to give you some help. And I'm trying to wrap up the stream, and now you're sending me stuff on Discord just to mess with me. I see how you are. Come on. Why are you being... trigger. Come on. All right, sci-fi. Let's see. So Zarak, Chiss. Well, I know what a Twi'lek is. Okay, so the Torgutta is what a Shiko or a Sikh, however you say your name is. The Zarbak is like Darth Maul, and Chiss is just like an Andorian without antenna. Well, if I had to pick one of those, I think I'd take the Chiss. There you go. Frodo says, is it possible that Picard is not a sequel, rather just based on the Next Generation? Lal does seem to the same hair as Darsh, for example, but it's not mentioned. That's an interesting idea, but I doubt it. Tentacle and Anti-Trigger must fight with Lurkpas. Yes. Wait, I shouldn't say that. He's probably younger than me and definitely more able-bodied. Actually, Geordi left Starfleet and became a noted musician. His stage name was Stevie Blunder. That's bad. What a lazy answer. Really? Quantum. Geordi was stalking Leah Brahms during the attack, so he wasn't there. That could have been. That could have been. I think the main computer you're thinking is called Orion. Okay, I'm not sure what you mean there. Stop trying to shut me down with your logical fallacies. That's right. My name is Norman. Sorry, Norman. Maybe the guy, and I apologize to Kronos for saying sorry, but that was actually an appropriate sorry. Maybe the Guardian is how Burnham gets the Star Trek Discovery crew back to their own time. Yeah, you would think she'd be like, oh, I think that my brother went through a Guardian of Forever, so I know about it because he sent me an email. Yeah. Trek 95 Kronos, no, Antrigger is not a dick, he is a tater. That's weird. There are so many ways to time travel in Trek. The Guardian, the Orb of Time, Slingshot around the sun, Borg Tech, Button, Weapons Fire. Well, don't forget, though, that you can just freaking make your deflector dish open up a time portal. Star Trek Picard said we cloned Data's brain using a single neuron. They didn't say copy. Yeah, because clone means copy. They use the word clone as in reading the tentacle. The word clone as a verb means copy. They didn't say copy because clone means copy. That would be redundant to say copy a clone. Doesn't know, Andrew doesn't know anything about Star Wars. Didn't claim that to be an expert on Star... Well, here's the thing. I love Star Wars, but that doesn't mean I know the names of all the alien races that they don't mention on screen on a regular basis. Heck, you show me some obscure race from one episode of Star Trek that's not iconic, like a Gorn or something, and I will probably struggle with that as well. Will they mention the disappearance of Spock in Picard? I don't know. That would be something worth mentioning, I would think, but don't know. I just had 2 shots of tequila. Packlid Firewire. I feel like my head is detached. Man, I don't have any tequila. Picard was never Data? Okay. Oh, this has just begun, Anti-Trekker. No. We're going to be wrapping up. 100% bet if Q is not too busy messing with ponies, who will be in the Picard show as Picard's dog. No, I think Q will probably show up, but I really don't want him to unless he does it the way that I described before, where they de-age him using... And they need to do it right, not the crappy way they did with Data, but they de-age John DeLance properly to make him look like young Q, and then... when he looks at Picard, he goes, "Oh, you're so old and feeble. Here." Snap his fingers and then make him look like he looks now. Is that better? You feel a little more comfortable now? You know, that's how I would do it. Dodge does remind me of Law a little bit. It's kind of weird, but nice. Yeah, in a way, and that might be intentional, because if she is, quote-unquote, Data's clone daughter thing, then it would be logical that she would look similar to Data's daughter. The ranting was very well done today. Thank you, Kronos. I appreciate that. Darren says, "Hey, I'm wearing headphones. Be kind." Sorry. Oh, man, I said it. Kronos, it's going to be a while before I can break myself. Data's E for brother getting a reskin of a female or having big boobs with lasers that fire. Wow. Orion was the name of the main computer when Kirk and the crew met a planet with androids with Harry Mudd as the ruler. No, it was not Orion. It was Norman. Would you rather have a clone of Lore or Bird? Bird, not threatening, stuck in bed. Do you think that, and since you copy all the genetic traits, right, so the clone will be just as stuck as he is, do you think it might be a twist if they used Lore's brain instead of Data's? Also, would it make more... sense to use the information Data put in B4? Well, except that the B4 they already explained in the pilot was a failed positronic brain. It wasn't able to maintain or hold on to the information. I do think it would make more sense to be Lore. Who the hell is Tentacle Pentacle? The guy that comments right after this. Tentacle says, "Clone means copy in PC. In biology, when dealing with neurons, it means..." Tentacle, look up clone in Webster's dictionary. The verb clone means to create a clone or to make a copy. It doesn't specifically say in PC. It simply says to make a copy. That is all. ZS says, "Stop feeding him. He is weaponized, stupid, and a maze spread." Oh, Tentacle's an actual friend of the channel, so even though he's kind of a dick sometimes, I love him. Carlos says, "In the first contact, they used the deflector to open a time portal that the Borg made before it collapsed completely, not making their own time tunnel." No. In First Contact, at the end of the movie, they used the deflector disc to straight up make a time portal going back to the future, even though they had no way to know how to do so. And yes, they do it on screen. Sorry, I meant Picard and Data were not best friends. Geordi was. Oh, agree. LOL, damn it, I missed the start. What's up? Hey, Tim. Yeah, good to see you. Andy says, "No need to apologize. I'm liking all the unintended attention." War with Species 8472, not the crappy version. I want the version from Scorpion. That's what they should do. That would be cool. This is going to be awesome sauce, Andy Traeger. Well, we'll find out. Daniel says, "Q mentioned he met James Kirk." I wonder when that happened. I missed that too. What are you talking about? When did Q ever say he met James Kirk? Seriously, Daniel, when did he ever say that? You should look up drinks, Flamer and PPC. That stuff would put Romulan Ale to shame. Well, I'm fine with Romulan Ale. Orion was the computer. Norman was the primary android connected to the computer and other androids. I don't remember them ever saying Orion. I remember them saying that it was the master controller or something, but never given a name like Orion. Proof, editor, proof me wrong. Okay, you are proofed. Oh, man, I missed the NPR voice. Well, I'm sorry about that, Darren. I'll try to use the NPR voice a little more often. Klutz says, "We need DJ Trekker now." Of all the time of ranting, you still have 124-ish lurkers. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, huh? Carlos said, no one knows what happened with Spock besides taking a ship. And plus, with the explosion of the sun and the black hole, all sensors reads was a washout from those effects. You're probably right. They probably just assume he died but the supernova was stopped, so he was successful, but he gave his life in doing so. Hello, world. And someone, wow, because I can't see it because my computer is being mean. Kronos donated, well, something behind the anti-cam, but fortunately I can go quickly to my... Man, I am just not entirely with it. That Romulan was good. And anti-tracker. There we go. So Kronos put in $1, said, I'm sorry. I said I'm sorry. Said it again. Sorry, Hypno-Turd with vocal fry. You're gonna kill me.
When a humble
All hail the Hypno-Turd. The Hypno-Turd is the bestest ever. You must give yourself to the Hypno-Turd and give everything you have to Anti-Trekker. Because he's the bestest ever. And go see Captain Marvel, available on home video today. There you go, Kronos, thank you. Whew. Man. And Sean Carter puts $5 in. Thank you, Sean. And says, what did the blonde Klingon say? It was a good day to die. Hello. And there's Sean's super chat. Thank you. Appreciate it. But wow, that was bad. I heard a theory where someone said B4 experiment did work and its huge cover-up in the android in the drawer was actually Data. Well, no, because Data was eviscerated in the destruction of the scimitar, so that if the only other android it could possibly be would be Lore. Wesley should come back and evil dictator of a failed utopia. Wesley Crusher should come back as an evil dictator of a failed utopia. I'm down with that. Wesley Crusher is an evil dictator. I bet Will Wheaton would love that. There's even a ripoff of Red Bull called Cologne. It's everywhere. No, they're using the deflector dish to make a beacon for the Borg in that time to come and assimilate Earth. The time travel was a thing the Borg cube could just do, apparently. Well, yeah, why not? Tentacle says his theory was that Data's entire code, even his memories, could be reconstituted from a single positronic neuron. That sounds like cloning from the biological sense. Okay, Tentacle. It's time to let go now. Just let go. Close your eyes and relax. Breathe and say, it's okay to disagree. You should change your name to the Nerd Ranter. I don't remember Q meeting Kirk neither. I remember, I believe me, I know every TOS episode, even the ones I don't like, and I do not think that Q ever met Kirk. The closest you could argue would be Trelane, but unless Q actually made a direct reference to that, then it wouldn't make much sense. Well, B4 with Data's memories. Well, except that they said that the memories didn't take because B4's inferior positronic brain could not store the information. I don't disagree with many points of the Phantom Menace, but the rage is too much. I dislike Star Trek Picard for literary reasons, logical storytelling and in and of itself, but just poor dialogue. Phantom Menace rage is silly. I tend to agree. And that's the thing. If it doesn't work for you, that's perfectly fine. Entertainment is subjective. Some people will enjoy it, some people won't. That's okay. But yeah, some of this rage is just silly. I can't imagine how loud your house must sound. Yeah, I'm pretty bad. Tim says, no rum today, so I have no excuse if I misspell crap tonight. That's okay. You know, I do not judge on spelling around here. Chief says, besides Kirk and Sulu, did anybody else have kids in TOS? Documented? No. In extended universe? Yes, Spock. Spock had a son, but that son was on the planet Sarpedon in their ice age. I am wrong. Am I wrong about this, but isn't there a Hober star different from the Romulan star? It seems like they can't get their JJ and Prime facts connected correctly. The Hober star, yes, was different than the Romulan star. They retconned that a little bit, but I'm glad they did, because the Hober star threatening to destroy the entire galaxy was stupid. All right, because a single supernova could not destroy the entire galaxy. However, having the Romulus star explode could devastate the Romulan star empire, and so that actually makes sense. That's not vocal fry, that's vocal baked. Oh, sorry, got my cooking metaphors wrong. Darren says, name the only redheaded Klingon female in all of Trek. There is one. Wow. You got me, Darren. You got me. They did explain it's a way what happened to Spock in Star Trek Online and was declared missing in action, but and we know Star Trek Online is canon and not at the same time. Yeah, I would not trust anything from Star Trek Online. And remember when Q showed up with his kid on Voyager and Janeway was like, WTF, and Q was like, we should have asked Kirk to take care of you, boy. No, I don't remember that line, to be honest with you. I'd have to rewatch it. Actually, Data's head survived the scimitar. It's in my room right now. Oh, never mind. That's me in the mirror, and it broke. Sci-Fi Sid says, if we were doing a drinking game, how many times do you say, sorry, we would all die of alcohol poisoning? That's very true. Grona says, that's really creepy. Okay. Tentacle says, even though I like the first episode, Phantom Menace was right. Star Trek Picard is for slow kids. Do even science. Okay, Tentacle. Why would you like it if you think Star Trek Picard is for slow kids? Does that mean you're a slow kid? Hey, how you doing, my friend, on this hot, steamy Wednesday afternoon? I'm hanging in there, trying to get off this live stream because I'm exhausted and it's 10:30 almost. Ever heard of genetic memory? That's a thing, or rather it's an idea, perhaps a bad idea. I don't know, I can't feel my legs. They said they could reopen the time conduit with the deflector before it fully collapsed to get home. They didn't make a new time portal. They just reused the old one before it ended. I don't remember that line, Carlo. You'd have to show me that line. I genuinely, I've seen First Contact more times than I can count, and I don't remember that line. But maybe it's there and I'm just senile, but I don't remember them saying that. Kirk had a kid with a tribble. I saw it on Robot Chicken. Antrager, yell out, no, my wife is the best choice. Well, my wife is the best choice. Rants more than he cares of his subs? Huh? Kronos is right. You need to bring back your $1 animations. We also need the return of the Pink Bunny. The $1 animations are still there, Night Breeze. Every single one of them is there. You just got to put in the number. And if you don't know them by number, you can go to antitracker.com. The entire list is there. Do you think Maddox recovered one of Data's neurons from the Nemesis final battle debris field? No. I think it's more likely that he got it from some other source, if it's actually from Data. I think it's more likely that it's from lore. Lady Grillkilla, Quark's girlfriend. Ah, okay. Was she a redhead? What do Ferengi have as a popular drink? Ferengi and Gorn for the win. Peas. What would a Ferengi-Gorn hybrid look like? Ugly. Yes, I'm really happy it changed to the Romulan star and not the Hoba star. Would have destroyed the whole galaxy. Yeah, it didn't make any sense. Carl says that was a different Q. And Frodo says, actually, Q said he should have asked Picard, not Kirk. Yeah, that sounds more like it, but yeah, I don't know. That voice right there, that's the creep. Oh, Cronus, sorry about that. And Elam Garrick puts in 2, I believe that's New Zealand dollars, says, nice to see you live, Anti-Trigger. Well, that certainly beats the alternative, and thank you, my friend. Darren says, the redhead Klingon females, Deep Space Nine soldiers of the Empire, her name was Tavana. Well, there you go. And Trigger, because you sometimes turn off your brain to science and get down to your level. Again, Tentacle, if you agree that it's for slow kids, but you liked it, are you a slow kid? Hail, Anti-Trigger! Oh, man, missed the stream. Sorry. And I'm not My theory is that Control sends a message back in time to the synths to attack Mars, thus sending in motion the fall of the Federation, linking Picard and Star Trek Discovery. Control is dead, so that doesn't make sense. Wait, where is Alexander? I don't know, he's taking the night off. According to Memory Alpha, Dr. McCoy had a daughter named Jonah McCoy. That's news to me. No, those subs SCs were automatic. Huh? I'll bet they based the androids off lore. Well, we'll find out. Andy Jerry finally admits he's going senile. Now we just need Joe Biden to do the same. Wow. I play Star Trek Online. I play it occasionally, but I suck at it. Ferengi invented Synthahol. They first used it to keep from getting drunk while others did. That's not canon. It's pocketbooks. That's a good idea, though. I wouldn't like to try a warp core breach, and there's a Carlo and Carlos in the chat. Yeah, that's going to throw me off, Carlo, but fortunately I'm about done, so that's okay. Didn't Data use copies of his neural net when building Lol, who was taken to the Daystrom Institute after her death? Maybe Maddox got the neuron from there, except that her positronic brain failed. When I come to your level, I will be a slow kid. Wow, now that's mean. The only ever since I can think is the one. The only ever since I can think of is the one from Aliens and Alien 3. I'm not sure what you mean. Dr. McCoy dated a host of Dax. Well, I remember they said that, but I don't think it's that is canon. Kirk had a nephew that survived Operation Annihilate, right? Yes. Peter, I believe. Corey says, Kirk spread his seed throughout the galaxy. He probed anything that moved. Best diplomat the Federation ever had. Actually, he didn't screw as many women as most people think. That's okay. I'm a Fleet Admiral, Star Trek Online. Stay behind me. Ha ha ha. I have never gotten a character up to Fleet Admiral. Elam Garrick will probably return. I hope he does. Roddenberry would have hated Elam Garrick. I don't think he'll be back. Didn't he die? Those dollar super chats were automatic. You know what I mean? Oh, those. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'd have to find the animations for that. As in Law of Aliens synth are ground. Oh, you're talking about the synths in, or they called it, the synthetics on an Alien. And don't be sorry, Ed Checker. I know. I'm working on it. Hey, remember when genetically engineered people were called genetically engineered people and not augments? Yeah, augments. I hated that one. McCoy's daughter idea was scrapped and then became Chekhov love interest in This Way to Eden. Ah, that makes sense. True, it failed, but from what they found, one intact neuron and went from there. It was more like finding it scattered across the space battlefield. I don't know. I'm hoping they'll explain it. McCoy and Dax were from the same DS9 Tribble episode. Yeah, the McCoy thing with Dax, yes, Dax mentioned that he had the hands of a surgeon, but that doesn't mean that McCoy had a kid with her or anything. How could you not get a character up to Fleet Admiral? It's easy, because I didn't have the patience. And Terry says, I would probably love to see the Doctor in Picard, but it probably won't be till season 2. Yeah, Robert Picardo, I heard, was in talks for season 2, but I haven't heard anything about season 1. You played those animations video Planet of Plenty. Yeah, I know, but I need to set them up in XSplit to be able to play them on the fly. That's what I don't have set up right now. All right, with that, I am going to wrap it up, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. Man, we had a good crowd today, over 120. So thank you all. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Watch all my videos 100 times over so that I can get rich. That's all I want, because I'm a greedy bastard.
Making your way with the nerds today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from hating JJ sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to just get laid? Sometimes you wanna go where all the Trekkies know your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be in a galaxy where Star Trek isn't lame. You wanna go where everybody knows your name. Birds of a feather flock together, that's what we believe. We know a place that's got you covered, a place to get relief. Wouldn't you like to say me poo? Sometimes you wanna go where Turnisteady's know your name, and old Carogan's hard to blame. You wanna be where you can see Caroga go up in flames. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
You son of a bitch, anti-tracker!